Welcome in, Navigator Nation. It is quite a day, is it not? My name is Mike Hess. I am the COPD dude. I am a COPD advocate, a respiratory therapist. I'm joined today by the delightful Emma, my daughter, who's going to help us out a little bit. Today, I'm not going to lie, today's kind of a tough day. There's a lot of strife going on right now. We had, this has been, those of you who know me on Facebook know of my fondness for sci-fi memes, and especially Star Trek. There was a two-part episode of Voyager called Year of Hell, where basically the ship gets harassed by an implacable enemy, and they just get, every time they think they might be out of the woods, something new happens, and it's a whole thing. Fortunately, at the end of the episode, they're able to do some timey-wimey stuff and reset the whole thing. But it's just a really long year, and honestly, that kind of feels how like things are playing out right now. There were some unexpected things here, even in Kalamazoo last night, the kind of things that you don't think are ever going to happen, but they did. And to be honest, I wasn't even sure how appropriate it was to have a show today, but I got to thinking a couple of different things. First of all, everybody needs a little break from the news sometimes, so we're going to try not to editorialize too much. And my wife tells all of her patients that a lot as part of her what she called the quarantine care plan, where sometimes you just need to have a little bit of a break and get away from the monotony or the negativity, and have a little bit of a stress relief and have some coping. So I thought at the end of the day, that's what I try to do with House Call. That's what I've been trying to do ever since we started in the quarantine. That's what I've tried to do with Breathe TV before that, and COPD Navigator Live before that. If we can teach, that's great. If we can have some fun, that's even better. So I wanted to make that happen. And, again, one of those things, sometimes you want to live vicariously or what have you, and I like spending time with the family, so I thought this would be good. So we've got Emma today. I also want to say hello to Daniel from Texas, back again, one of my RT community, and Lynn checking in from Connecticut. Beautiful state. Went there for the first time. Oh boy, I don't even know if it was this year or last year. When did I go to Connecticut?
2 years ago.
Must have been last year, because it was.
Whoa.
Hello, Olive.
Hello.
Also joined by the lovely Olive, checking in from upstairs.
She's been down here.
Well, I know, but she generally comes from upstairs. So, yeah, we'll all have some fun. Had we been doing harmonicas today, we probably would have drawn in Potato as well. Olive,
ma'am.
Seriously though, that is the state. You can. I'm going to switch over real quick just for a moment here, if I can. Forgot to lean it back down. That's right. We're going to have our usual, Olive, come on now. There we go. Trying to do our staging here with our, getting ready to do a little makeover, and right now Olive is having none of it.
Ma'am, this is not a spot for you.
Yeah, so now I have messed up all the stuff here. Come on.
Nice.
Oh, it is one of those days, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. All right, now that's back. What I was trying to do is just move this graphic down a little bit so that we can get Olive in all her glory there.
Ma'am.
Hello, Olive. There we go. Olive seems to think that she is on stage and that our staging area is designed for her.
Here.
So we can all enjoy a little bit of Olive the cat in our news feed for today. Cat camp, Daniel says. And John checking in. Greetings and salutations. Welcome, John. Great segue, actually. I was trying to get there with the harmonica and Potato, but John joined us last night for our first COPD Navigator harmonica session,
Yeah, there you go.
which I do
It's a
believe
good
went
spot.
fairly well. For those of you who have tuned in on Wednesdays through the Quarren Apocalypse here, we have tried to do harmonicas for health on Wednesdays, playing a little bit of a harmonica jam. Let's see. Well, sadly I don't have any of them memorized. I should. Joey had some memorized within like a day.
I don't even know what the songs are.
Kind of. Lynn asks, Emma, do you paint your cat's nails?
Sometimes
Well-
I glue plastic nail caps onto Potato. She doesn't like that very much.
Does Olive still get the caps?
No, you told me to stop giving them to her, and the last time I tried to do it, she bit me so hard, it looked like I had gotten a shot. There was a bruise.
So yes, we have Olive is a couple years old.
Yep.
And
Olive is 4.
at the time, we still
I think.
thought it was pretty. We didn't really know. We weren't aware of some of the difficulties involved in declawing cats. And I had always grown up in a house. Well, not always, but frequently grown up in a house where we had declawed cats. So we did have Olive's front claws removed. And then between the time we got Olive and Potato, we read up a little bit more, and we thought, it's a little bit too
And
rough
Olive got
for.
injured. You know, she does the paw thing.
And Olive did get, there was a combination of her declawing didn't go real well, and I think she stepped on some broken glass near that time too, so she was very limpy with that. So we didn't want to put another cat through that. When we got Potato, we left her with all of her claws. Well, Olive and Potato don't get along real well. And so Olive is at somewhat of a disadvantage, even though she was bigger. Olive had more razors. So
Potato has more razors.
Yeah, Potato had more razors. So we started giving Olive some of her defense back and trying to tame Olive a little bit better. Whether that worked or not, they still don't get along real well. But that is why next time Potato is around, we'll show off her claw caps.
She's only wearing a couple, and I don't want to cap her again because she's mean.
No, that's fair. I mean, it's.
Might just have to bite the bullet and start paying the vet to do it.
If we get we can start going back to the vet now. That's right, kind of. I mean, it's still probably a non-emergent procedure.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm tired of doing it. It's hard, and she bites me, and then it sounds like she's being attacked. And I'm very nice. I don't hurt her.
Oh,
I'm not like, I have a special way to do it that involves a little bit of like hugging.
You have like the cat taco because you have like a whole big blanket.
I like to call it the Gremlin Bjorn. It's
Gremlin Bjorn. That's
it's
right.
Pillowcase and an ace bandage that I put Potato in pillowcase, sticking head out the top, of course. And then I let one arm out and I bind the other one down so it's not being pressed against anything, so she can't scratch me with the other one while I'm capping her. And she doesn't get hurt. It's not painful. She's just restricted.
And it took you a while to kind of develop that. I mean, you
The first
did
time
trial
I
and error
just let her scream, and she scratched me a whole bunch, and I was like, I'm not doing that again.
All right. So that is the story of the cat nails. See if we can bump that up just a little bit more so it's not banging too much into your head here. There we go.
Bonk.
All right, so what we're gonna do today, it is HoloTaco Tuesday. We've started to go back and forth a little bit. This might end up being the last HoloTaco. Well, I think we could get one more out of it, maybe two.
Because you have to go back to work.
Getting ready to go back to work. I believe I'm gonna be able to. I'm pretty sure. I know I can do all this week. We're still gonna be doing House Call Live. We're probably going to, it's 50-50 next week. After that, it's getting a little bit more dicey, which is another reason I still wanted to go on live today. As I was talking yesterday, this is something that I generally look forward to as I don't necessarily want to say stress relief, but it's something where we can all kind of come together, which is something that is desperately needed right now. And try, like I said, get a little bit of a respite from a lot of the bad news that's going on right now. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. We've got this week, probably next week, maybe if we're lucky the week after that. And then we're going to be switching to certainly not a daily show. Hopefully I still plan to be live as often as possible because I do really get a lot out of these shows. Hopefully you get the same and you look forward to them too. But we're going to just see what the new normal looks like in a couple of weeks. So do you have a plan for polish and coats and all that stuff today?
Yeah, I got out the colors I want to use.
All right.
I might just forego these ones though, because I don't know. Do you want a base coat?
Base coats are good, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get started. While I'm doing this, kind of the trick to this is the idea is while this is happening, you are still asking me questions related to COPD or the pandemic, the elephant in the room, or whatever is on your mind, so that we can continue to have some education while we're trying to put some smiles on faces. Again, sorely needed on days like today. Recognizing that we're very fortunate to still be safe and protected here. Also in good news, it's a very sunny day outside. I understand we're supposed to be getting some storms later, but I was able to get, well, let's see. I'll throw in another plug for the show that my wife and I have started.
So is it a podcast or is it a video?
Well, our first show was live. What was I looking up?
Your step count.
Oh yeah, thank you. Sorry, I just had a work email pop up too. Nothing urgent, but actually nothing all that critical either. So, not to worry anybody. So Kelly and I, for those of you who may not know, Kelly Becker, my wife, is a nurse practitioner, specializes in obesity. Sees a lot of the same issues and disparities and inconsistencies in care and stigmas and everything else that we see in COPD. So we decided that it might be a good idea to put our combine our resources and combine our powers and knowledge and all that stuff, and also share our own journeys along the way. We are both bariatric patients who have struggled with weight and other chronic conditions our whole lives. While I haven't really had a lot of COPD type breathing problems, I can have some empathy for that. And Kelly and I have struggled with a lot of those issues our whole lives. So again, we wanted to kind of share our journeys, share our knowledge and share our experiences to try to bring the COPD Navigator type ethos to a wider audience probably. And advocate for our populations and other sources. So that started this past week. You can still catch that if you look up The Best Nest on YouTube. Our first show is called Fight to Flight, and we're going to be doing that again this Sunday at 4 p.m., our usual Navigator time, but on the weekend. So look for that this Sunday. One of my big goals for this coming week, Kelly and I are both trying to lose some more weight again. Again, we've struggled even after our bariatric procedures. We've started putting some stuff back on, and one of my goals is, my goal is to lose about 20 pounds again, and trying to do this while not touching anything. Part of that is my original goal was to get 10,000 steps a day. Yesterday I was able to get 8,000. Today I've already got 8,039, so we're gonna see if we can pop that up real quick here towards, well, we'll see if we can slide it under that camera here. Well, that doesn't show up very well, does it?
Here.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah, it was already maximum brightness. Don't know why exactly, but so. There we go. 8,000 steps.
It's gotta be closer to the camera.
Good call. So that's 2 days in a row. I've gotten at least 80% of my goal. So I'm pretty happy about that. Was able to take advantage of the nice day today and and get some steps in. We are supposed to get some storms tonight, though, I understand. I think I might have said that. What's up?
I said, oh, that'll be good. And then the brush is glued inside of the bottle.
Uh-oh.
But nothing that can't fix.
So, also in good supporting small business kind of thing, this polish that we're using here is from a company called HoloTaco.
An indie brand.
An independent brand. This was a truly self-started company by a YouTuber that Emma really enjoyed, and then kind of turned Kelly and I onto. She is Canadian, lives with her long-term partner and 2 cats. So of course we understand the appeal of the cats. Did a lot of makeup tutorials or nail polish tutorials and that sort of thing, and then got popular enough where she was able to create her own brand of polish that's all sourced responsibly and
vegan and cruelty-free,
vegan, all that stuff. And I think she started when it was still just like the ad revenue and things like that from YouTube, but she actually funds a scholarship for Canadian students. Do you know what the criteria are for?
Every once in a while she'll have like you send in an essay about a topic she picks, and she picks the 3 best essays, and those students get a scholarship.
So we really appreciate civic-minded businesses, honestly. You know,
she's also done some donations to I wasn't done with this now.
Oh, sorry.
To animal shelters in I believe she lives in Ottawa.
That sounds right.
Ottawa, Canada, the capital. Ottawa's the capital?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she lives in the capital, so some animal shelters there. And during quarantine, she made donations for healthcare workers to get food on their dime. So she went to a couple of restaurants and said, I want to pay for this many meals for healthcare workers. And I know she made a donation to Black Lives Matter. I don't know exactly which charity she donated to or how much.
So definitely very much in the vibe that we like to do with paying it forward and trying to help out communities and everything else. So we're very happy to support that. We are not sponsored by them, but we very much support their business model and what they bring into the community. So,
and she does all of the testing on herself, and like all of the promo pics and stuff. Those are all taken by her.
And I will admit to not knowing a whole lot about nail polish, but it seems like pretty...
This is high quality stuff.
Yeah, pretty good stuff, I was going to say. So. All right, I do see a question coming in. It'll take just a minute to get this hand free again. Let me scroll back just a touch here. Let's see what... Oh, I need the other mouse.
2-mouse system, fellas.
All right, so Cindy says, would it cause burning and shortness of breath if your husband was trying to quit smoking and using e-cigarettes or vapes in the house? Also been having more frequent shortness of breath, lungs burning. Is this causing this? Cigarettes have nicotine and so does his vape pod, so I feel it's the reason. What do you think? I wish he wouldn't do things to damage his lungs as well as mine. Short answer is quite likely. It's not so much the nicotine itself in the tobacco or in the vape pods. That's what makes them addictive, for lack of a better word. It's the thing that makes you keep coming back, just like caffeine and things like that. You get it's the thing you get hooked on. It's a lot of other stuff that's in the vape that is probably having that impact that you're talking about.
Carcinogens.
Potentially carcinogens, potentially cancer-causing compounds. We don't know what the long-term effects are of a lot of this stuff. A lot of people, especially youth, but a lot of people kind of feel that since vapes look like mist, They look like steam, look like water vapor. That's what they are. They're harmless. They're not any different than breathing in steam from a tea kettle or something like that. And they aren't. We know that there's a lot of questionable stuff in pretty much any vape. Even when they're made at the highest quality with the best quality control and the greatest attention to safety in manufacturing, you know, all those standards, we still know that there's bad stuff in there. More commonly, we see a lot of these kind of, for lack of a better word, homebrew vapes that even, you know, again, with the best of intentions, maybe there's a little less consistency, maybe there's a little less purity. We don't know in many cases what's in some of those vapes, and even when we do, it's still the bad stuff. I will say that secondhand vape irritation is probably a little less common than secondhand smoke, and probably a little less common than primary irritation, like the people who are actually using e-cigarettes or vapes. Less commonly reported, but everybody has a certain degree of sensitivity, and some people have more sensitivity. If you have any kind of reactive airways thing going on, like asthma or anything like that, you could be very sensitive to e-cigarette vapor. And so, again, the short answer was yes, and the long answer is yes with a lot of this added information. So, can I say that it's 100% certain that that's what's causing irritation and shortness of breath? No, but I would put pretty good money that it's at least contributing.
Highly likely.
Highly likely. Cindy, I'm not sure exactly where you're at or as far as where you live. Another, let's see, it pops up. It doesn't pop up in the quick preview on Facebook here, but this is also kind of a prime time for. Oh, shoot.
Did you nudge it?
Yeah, I did. Can we get a little touch up on there real quick, or is it too late?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, caught the edge of the inflow cone. This is also prime time for allergies. You know, we're seeing
allergy season.
We've got a lot of different pollens floating around out there. So that's probably another contributing factor. Yeah, COPD. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people with COPD have, again, some degree of reactive airways process. We often will call it asthma COPD overlap, but even a lot of times if you don't have it severe enough to get to that point, we see a lot of folks who, you know, for example, if you're sensitive to perfumes, some people are real sensitive to perfume, some people aren't. Some people are sensitive to flowers. I mean, I have some allergies. I don't have asthma. I don't have COPD. But I remember even going back to when I was a kid, we had these big old lilac bushes in the neighborhood by our house. And I remember I would even kind of get tight sometimes walking by the lilacs when they were in bloom, just because.
I thought it was pronounced lilac.
I think both are acceptable. I'm sorry, I didn't know I was sitting by the flower police today.
Just thought it was pronounced lilac. I've never heard it pronounced lilac before.
Really?
Mm-mm.
Lilac, whichever. I would get a little bit of tightness and shortness of breath. Of course, you know, again, as a kid, I didn't know what that was, but I had obviously some kind of sensitivity to it. I think I've largely outgrown it now, but even now it might be kind of psychosomatic, mind over matter kind of thing, but I will get a little tight, but I just try to avoid lilac as much as possible. Similarly, it could be a flavoring, it could be, you know, whatever is in his particular blend of vape juice that is causing that similar reaction. People have different sensitivities to different chemicals, and that could be that. So great question, though. That was a great question.
What did you do to your cuticles? They look like they hurt.
They do hurt, and I have no idea what I did with them. They just started, I don't know if they're just dry or what, but they just started kind of flaking.
Well, part of it is that, like, the undergrowth is, like, way up your nail. And Grandma told me that if you just push up even with your nail, that will stop the ripping from like up here.
Oh, really?
And I don't get that because I push up my cuticles.
Huh. The more you know.
She told me that like 10 years ago, and I was like, wow.
We ready for the other one?
Yeah.
So, great question, Cindy. Let's keep them coming. We've got another code or two to go. So, what else is on the mind of the COPD community? We did, I think I was talking a little bit. We talked about our harmonicas last night. We're going to be doing that again next Monday for Musical Monday. In order to participate, you do not need to have a harmonica. You do not need to have any ability to play the harmonica. All you need to do is have a computer or smart device, because we do that one on Zoom, a little bit more of an interactive web conference, and I'll tell you, that was really entertaining last night, listening to everybody's harmonica from across the country. We had Shar from Canada was there. She didn't have her harmonica, though, so we didn't technically hear harmonicas internationally, but she was participating. And we had a lot of fun. We learned Oh Susanna. That was one that I had never played before. We started off with our usual array of Twinkle Twinkle and our warm-ups and stuff like that, and then we hit some Oh Susanna. Tried briefly to play a little bit of the Star Trek theme, and learned how to do bends.
I don't know what that is.
A bend is, and I'm going to be real careful here again. A bend is when you move your jaw while you're playing, so, and it kind of moves your tongue and stuff at the same time, so it sounds like this.
That's fun.
So yeah, that was somebody had asked about it, because when we were doing the Star Trek, when we were working on Star Trek, it had a little notation that said that this note should be a bend. Oh, there's Kim. Welcome in, Kim. Come for the laughs. We did have a good time. At least I did. Everybody else seemed to be laughing. Actually, as soon as I went back upstairs, Kelly was up there, and she said, "Did you have a good time? It sounded like you were really having a good time down there." And I really did. I really did. Kim has been, I call her our harmonica hero, because no matter how badly we mess it up in person, she's from the area. No matter how badly we mess it up in person, she keeps coming back. And honestly, I thought that was arguably one of our better ones, potentially even more than some of our ones that go live. So
still waiting for a couple minutes. Just
okay,
to let
that's fine. I wanted a place to rest my hand for a moment too. So. So what we've also got going on here, this is kind of where some of this is the hollow, or
no.
is it, this is, okay, so this is the flaky.
Yes.
Okay. So you can kind of see we've got,
iridescent.
Iridescent stuff here. This is the flaky layer. What type of flaky is this?
I used the solar unicorn skin.
Solar unicorn skin. So we got kind of a black.
Iridescent.
What's this is go away black or something like that?
One coat black.
One coat black. Didn't she have one that's like go away?
Indigo away.
Indigo
the
away.
Purple
Okay.
one.
And then the gold solar unicorn skin.
Yep.
Flaky. That's a cool effect. I like that. I like that a lot.
And then we'll be finishing off with the flaky HoloTaco, which is the holographic, and our very thick super glossy taco, because at the moment I'm not sure where a regular glossy taco is.
That's all right. So Cindy, thank you. Love this live online with you all. Help all get us through the day. I like that too. You know, I was joking around yesterday. If I won the lottery tomorrow, I would turn this into my day job and do 3 hours of Navigator live, house call, whatever. I think. Well, I had one vote for house call, no votes for anything else. So maybe we'll stick with calling it a house call. I do, like I said, I do plan to continue live shows with some degree of regularity. Just depending on how our clinic works afterwards. You know, there's a lot of, still a lot of uncertainty right now. I know we've had a lot of across the country, we've had all these opening, the opening up the states and rescission of the stay-at-home orders and everything else, and Michigan's no exception to that. But that also doesn't mean that we're 100% back to normal. That doesn't mean that this coronavirus is gone. It doesn't mean that everything is back to the way it was. We're looking at everything at like 50% for right now. I know our bars and restaurants are supposed to open up next week at 50% capacity. Although looking at a couple of local threads on various internet sites, it looks like maybe they're only going to be about 25% full at best. I've seen a lot of celebrations out there. People not wearing their masks anymore and not following 6 feet apart, anything like that. And those are the kinds of things that get us back to where we were a month ago, or even 2 months ago when we were having 1,000 new cases a day. So it's important to remember we're not out of the woods yet. So I'm hopeful that we'll still be able to do some of these live shows at least a couple of times a week, because I get a whole lot of enjoyment out of coming and talking to folks. It's possible even that cutting back a little bit will allow me to go back to sort of what we did with the older style show, where I would have some additional graphics and things like that, with more of a lesson plan for the show. Be that as it may, and speaking of lesson plans, one other thing that I really want to get going is our COPD Navigator Ready Room. We're having another show tonight, 7 p.m. on Zoom again.
I thought you did Ready Room on Thursdays.
Well, this Thursday is game night.
Oh.
So, I mean, technically, I could call anything on Zoom. That could be Ready Room. So, I haven't decided yet. Branding still TBD. Still working on that. I know branding is critical and all that stuff, but still working on that. But tonight, we're going to be talking about non-medicinal therapies. We're going to be talking about
acupuncture.
Not necessarily quite that far. That might come up, and it's funny you should mention that, because everybody, well, I shouldn't say everybody, it's getting to be a little bit more popular, but so easily we in healthcare just want to poo-poo stuff like acupuncture and things like that, acupressure. Well, it's just placebo effect. And I'll admit I've come around on this a little bit too. Placebo effect, I mean, if you're feeling better, does it really matter at the end of the day what's making you feel better?
Like headache earrings.
Yeah.
A lot of people think those are placebo.
Yeah, or they have those those like the copper bracelets that put like pressure points on you. And I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and sell any of those things. At least not yet. Somebody wants to give me a commission or something, we can talk. But seriously, that's not the kind of thing that I'm going to tell you to rush out and get because it's a miracle cure or anything like that. But if it makes you feel better, then it makes you feel better. And, acupressure, acupuncture, the whole realm of what we in formal medicine call complementary and alternative medicine.
I know that term.
I think there's some stuff to that. I mean, we talk a lot about pursed lip breathing and breathing techniques and coughing techniques. Well, what is that another name for? Mindfulness breathing. And, just be, it's even admittedly a little bit like meditation sometimes. So, we see these things that are, basically arose by any other name. And maybe we shouldn't be so quick to dismiss them. A lot of our stuff has gotten us to where we're at with access to medication issues and things like that. So acupuncture could come up. I don't have a lot. The real crux of it, what made me think of this, is I don't have a lot of studies that say acupuncture works. But I also I'm not going to sit here and tell you that if you come on the show and say acupuncture absolutely works for me, I'm not going to tell you that you're wrong. If it worked for you, then great. Now, if you say it worked for me and it will definitely work for you, I might have some issue with that because I don't really like absolutes or anything like that. But that's also part of is kind of has a bad name, but holistic medicine in the sense of treating the whole person rather than just the disease process or the condition or the symptoms or anything like that.
We took a holistics class, and a lot of the ideas were good, but a lot of the like lectures and stuff had ideas that seemed to be like you can have one or the other instead of combining the two. We talked a little bit about combining like what's considered real medicine and
Western medicine.
Western medicine and alternative medicine. We talked a little bit about that, but a lot of it seemed to be just like you can either have holistic medicine and care, or you can have Western medicine and care, and the two aren't really combined a whole lot.
And that's true, because that's true that they aren't combined a lot. But I think it's because, we kind of get caught up, I know we in the clinical side definitely get caught up on, well, if you're going to be using your vitamins and your supplements and your this and your that, then you don't need me, and you're just wasting your time. And we almost look at it as like an affront to our ego, which is silly. And then on the flip side to that, a lot of people whose livelihood depends on the complementary and alternative stuff want more of it. So they're going to say, well, no, you don't need that. That's just big pharma talking, or that's just big medicine talking. They just create customers. They don't create cures. My stuff will cure you. And all. So there is a kind of a fundamental tension there. But I also don't think that that's appropriate either. I mean, I think that there is room for both, because I can't say, even, if I were to take that same kind of thing, I do not tell people that, well, I've seen this inhaler work for 500 people, I guarantee it will work for you. I have never said that. And if I do, that's the day I hand in my respiratory license, because that is a false statement. We cannot guarantee with 100% certainty that any particular therapy is going to work for a person. And we shouldn't advertise that. We have this whole push in medicine for personalized care, for individualized medicine, for personalized, customized care plans. We have this whole idea that we should be fitting the therapy to the person, not just their condition, not just their symptoms, but their needs, their expectations, their abilities, their desires. All of these things are supposed to be coming into play. Well, I should be able to not be threatened by the fact that if you want to do your 2 inhalers and go once a week or whatever the protocol is to the acupuncturist, I shouldn't be threatened by that. Again, if it works, fantastic. If it doesn't, well, then we'll try something else, and no harm, no foul. I mean, I say no harm, no foul. It seems like it hurts, but
I've heard that it doesn't hurt as much as people think it does.
I've heard that too, and I struggle with it. It kind of makes sense. I mean, I know, because you can't, I was one of those kids that would unbend the paper clip and kind of slip it just under your epidermis and then be like, ooh, look at me.
Oh, yeah.
And that didn't really hurt per se, but I don't know, maybe it's just needles and stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's like...
That's what we used to do.
Thumbtacks?
People would put thumbtacks just under their skin.
So yeah, same kind of deal.
Thumbtacks and mechanical pencils.
I was always afraid of breaking the lead, though, with the mechanical pencil.
They would make the hole first and then put the pencil in and be like, oh, look, I put the pencil in my arm.
So Cindy says, medication has side effects, so acupuncture has none. Maybe a reason I'll look to that as better. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I can't argue with that. I mean, any medication, it has the potential for side effects. Any therapy has the potential for adverse effects. We always try to weigh the pros and the cons, or we call them the risks and the benefits. That's the whole idea of informed consent, which is one of our most, what we claim to be one of our most sacred tenets in healthcare: informed consent and the right to know what your therapy is going to do, might do, could do. And acupuncture has very little side effects. Again, it's one of those things that's difficult to study. So that's why it's where sometimes the ethics come into conflict, and we have, because it's hard to study that. So again, we don't have any data, so we can't really recommend that on the basis of data, or what we call evidence-based practice. Where we do have that data for inhalers and stuff like that. But you're absolutely right. It doesn't have any. So this is a good introduction to risk-benefit. Acupuncture, as I understand it, and I understand it about yay much, is very low risk. There's relatively low opportunity cost to it, as far as you have to find a place, you have to go there, take time to go there. I don't know how much it costs or anything like that, but it's not like, well, if they misplace an acupuncture needle, you're going to end up blind in one. Well, I guess I shouldn't say that, because if they really mess it up, then it could go in your eye. I think if you're going to an acupuncturist that sticks in your eye, you've got bigger problems. But it's relatively low risk. We just don't know what the benefit is. So, but even because it's such low risk, even if there's very low benefit, it still works out pretty well. Medications arguably have a higher benefit, but they also have a higher risk. So, does the ratio work out about the same? Maybe. But if the absolute value of the side effect from an inhaler is greater than the absolute value of the side effect from the acupuncture, you may decide that you prefer the acupuncture, even though it's not as effective. You don't want to deal with the side effect. This is kind of one of those, again, the individualized therapy, where we're supposed to be talking to people. I can't tell you how many people I've had say that, I ask them, have you been taking your inhaler? No. Okay, well, how come? Well, I don't want to. It's like, okay. And then you kind of drill down a little bit deeper, and you find out they don't want to take it because it tastes terrible. And because it tastes terrible, they don't take a full breath in. And because they don't take a full breath in, it doesn't work very well. So they have this horrible taste in their mouth, and they have no net benefit from it. So I wouldn't take it either. Would you?
No.
No.
I didn't even like taking the one that's just full of
placebo.
Yeah. Ugh. Disgusting.
So, again, it comes down to that risk benefit. If we can find them an inhaler where I guess this is more of the individualized care thing, and actually talking about a person's goals and desires. Technique. If they're tasting it, maybe they're not using the right technique, because you generally shouldn't taste it, at least with the powders and stuff. Sometimes it's a little unavoidable with the mist, but so again, this is where we can't just be dismissing things out of hand. We have to look for a reason why. We have to look for some deeper questions here. So we're closing in on the top of the hours, but we do have a few minutes more if anybody wants to get some last minute questions in. In the meantime, while we're waiting on some last minute questions, I will again remind folks, tonight at 7 Eastern time, we have another Zoom Ready Zoom, talking about the non-inhalers. Seems like acupuncture is probably going to come up now.
You're welcome.
We're going to be talking about some of the other therapies we've got that can potentially help. Tomorrow night, we're taking the night off to help Kelly with one of her webinars. Thursday night, we're going to be back with game night. Got to get the boys on
Jackbox games.
Yeah, I got to get the boys together in the next night or so to give it a trial run. Maybe we'll do that tomorrow. See if we can do a trial run with that and see if that works. Again, we'll be back here all week at 4 this week. Kim says maybe we need flavored inhalers. I'd be lying if I said that hadn't crossed my mind. I would be curious, and I might have next time I come across one of my friends in the industry, I might have to ask, if you add a flavoring,
Is this possible?
if you add a flavoring to an inhaler, does that mean that you have to send all of them through the FDA process again? Because can you even imagine? I mean, we have different breaths. I mean, it's not medications, but you have breath sprays and stuff like that that are essentially the same formulation, other than a flavor.
And you just go with the...
Yeah. But then the flip side to that, so I'm thinking it through my head. That's a possibility. But we also talk about sometimes it's the flavorings and stuff in the vape juice that can cause problems inside the lungs. But then again, with an inhaler, you're probably not inhaling as much as you would with an e-cig. And if you formulate it with just a little bit of flavor, maybe that can stay in the oral space, the oral pharynx. It'd be an interesting...
Be complicated.
It would be complicated, but it would be interesting. And frankly, if it helps people adhere to their regimen better, it might be worthwhile. Of course, then we'd have to run that past the insurance companies too. So that's... need to get a prior auth for my mint flavored albuterol. I'm sorry, we only covered the cinnamon.
When you first started talking about game night, I thought you were going to try to run Jackbox games through a live, and I was like, how are you going to compensate for the lag? But now I realize that it's on Zoom, which makes it less laggy.
Should be less laggy because we watched the Game Grumps do that with the comedian guys. So it's a theory. It's a game theory. It's worth a shot. I mean, I don't know if it's going to work. We're going to find out.
But we will try.
So, haven't seen any other questions. Oh, I probably shouldn't be drinking anything until I get a sponsorship on there or something.
We're not sponsored by Sprite.
So make sure that you're checking us out tonight, 7 Eastern time on Zoom. The link is in our on our Facebook page. I'm not going to put it in the comments because every time I do that, somebody tries to go there immediately, and we're not going to be live for 2 hours. And so I don't want to make anybody mad or give the wrong impression or anything like that. Invariably, the last 3 times I've done that, as soon as I post the links, I get an email that says people are waiting in your Zoom waiting room, and it's like, no, folks, 7 Eastern time, 2 hours from now.
7 o'clock, baby.
To clarify, right now where I'm at, it is 4:58, so 2 hours from right now, we will be back in the Zoom ready room for that. Tomorrow we'll be back at 4 p.m. Eastern time again. Please like, share, and subscribe our Facebook page, our YouTube channel, all that stuff. You can find us on Patreon if you want to subscribe to us there. Patreon.com/bestnest. That is the overall name of our whole family of programming. You can check out on YouTube. We've got more COPD Navigator stuff there. We've got Fight to Flight with the Best Nest. We've got I need to put up a new link. Emma and I are starting a new show. For my other Trekkies out there, we've got 1 episode in the can that finally made it through the CBS copyright thing. For those of you who may be familiar with the idea of Mystery Science Theater, where they kind of sit and make fun of old movies.
But we're immediately going to change the format.
That's right. We are. Did we decide on changing the format?
Yeah, because we decided we're going to put a face cam.
Okay, that's right. We make fun of Star Trek.
Woohoo! Our first episode is Fascination was on
with
earlier.
the existing format, and then we're going to do a different format
with Vedic Burial.
Yes. Joe says we have 2 hours to get those 2,000 steps and eat. Yes, sirree. We'll be checking that out. Kim says we'll be there since we are now under a curfew. Yep. So that's spread this with all your Kalamazoo friends. You got nothing else to do, so come join us on Zoom. Mixed feelings about the curfew.
Thinking about the curfew.
Yeah, that's.
I don't like thinking about what came with the curfew.
Yeah. So we will end more on a positive note. Please stop by if you have the time. We'll be here. We're going to have some fun. The ready rooms are very loose and unstructured, so please don't be intimidated. You don't need to have your webcam on. I know Joe has done 1 or 2 He comes in with the webcam off. I can also make sure if you just want to call in with the telephone, you can. There are phone lines available. We can service a lot of different kinds of interactions. So
My math class had a phone where you could call it
cool.
and listen in. You wouldn't get all the video and stuff, but you could call.
Cool. So for those folks who are interested in that, we'll see you in 2 hours. For everybody else, hopefully we'll see you here tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Time for another COPD house call. Until then, continue to take care of yourselves, take care of each other, stay safe, stay strong. This is Emma Hess. I am Mike Hess. Continue to breathe lightly, and we will see you later. Take care.
We will see you in the next one.
The next time. Uh-oh.
Just kidding. We're gonna stay on forever.
We're still live until air. Oh, now. Oh, okay. Now we're gone. Take care, everybody.